Hello there guys, my name is MrYorkiesWorld, welcome back to the channel, and today's video is going to be extremely exciting. I am going to be doing a review of a brand new product which, courtesy of FlightSim.com, I've been able to acquire. We are going to be reviewing Rex Environment Force, which is an entirely new piece of software allowing you to change shaders and things like that and textures on the fly as you are simming without having to go back, stop the sim, change some settings, you know, load in a new preset and then see if it looks okay. By using this, you can actually just change what you like in the sim and it will change exactly what it looks like. I mean, at the moment we've got the default, I can't even remember what preset I've got installed, but it's tomato shade or tomato shade anyway. We're in the Mooney Bravo, pretty basic airport here at Copenhagen. We're on the ground, and if we take a top-down view, you can see that we're going to be departing runway, is it 04? Yeah, 04, and we're surrounded by water as well. That's partially the reason that I'm doing it at this airport, because there's a lot to do with water that's actually in this add-on that I want to cover. Now, I'm completely new to this, so me doing this is literally going to be the first time that I'm doing it at the same time as probably what you are. If you're watching this video, you're probably going to be following along and testing things out, unless of course you've had experience using Environment Force before, or you've already had a go at it yourself. So I'm pretty excited to get straight into it. Again, we're in the Mooney Bravo even. I've got no idea how to properly fly this aircraft, so I do apologise, but I'm going to attempt to do my best. So straight away, this is the interface. We go in, you can see on the top right hand side, or should I say, no, I'm saying top because it says top 10 community presets. On the right hand side of the window, we've got all these community presets which people have set up, which you can literally just inject. You can click that and it will inject things into the simulator. However, what I'm going to be doing is doing it manually. Now, on Environment Force, you can click these three lines here and obviously it'll open up or expand all the options here. I'm in manual mode. You can go to automated mode, which will essentially allow Environment Force to change the weather and sort of the settings and everything based on what it is actually looking like in real life. So it's a little bit like Active Sky. However, we do have Active Sky running at the moment. I'm using Active Sky Cloud Art, and I'm also using, I believe, let me have a quick check, Rex Skyforce 3D as well. It claims to be compatible with everything, every other add-on, so that's pretty interesting. Now, when you first open the interface, you're going to want to go down and click this button here if you want to get into the nitty-gritty stuff about changing cloud textures or sky textures. However, we're not going to bother with that straight away. I want to get straight in and check out some... Let's have a look at the... What should we do? Lighting / visibility. Now this is pretty interesting. I'm going to enable manual lighting. What I will do is I'm going to do it on the ground here, and then we will take off as well, and we can take a look at how things look in the air. But let me just try and get this into a reasonable position. So the first option here is scene lighting, and that's pretty self-explanatory. If we just minimize this down, we can sort of adjust it exactly how we like, and you can see it almost makes it look as if it's coming on to night time, which is pretty nice. Let me just get it back up again. And you can go all the way down. I mean, look at that. How beautiful is that? Absolutely gorgeous. You can see the sky textures and everything, or the shading at least, has changed. And it really does fit in and make it look like it's sort of evening time rather than local time at the moment, which we are on... Let's have a look. What's it say? It's dark, so I don't actually know. 11:32 AM. But you can change stuff like that. And if we go back into it, again, you can make it brighter, which it doesn't really get any brighter than that, but you get the point. So it can be like dead nighttime like that, as if it's pitch black, or you can change it to just normal, or anywhere in between, depending on your circumstances. The next option here is cloud lighting. So I'm going to move this window to my second screen and just mess about with the cloud lighting a moment. And what I will do, in fact, is just get to a different position so you can see some more clouds. Just an outside view. So if I move the cloud lighting, as expected, it changes the type of clouds, or not the type, but the colour of the clouds, which can really help if you wanted to create a cinematic experience, or a video that contains cinematics, and you want it to look really stormy and stuff like that, and really want to add to the effect, and you're not happy with how Active Sky is doing it, you think you could do a little bit better, this is perfect. So again, cloud lighting, moving the slider, it's actively changing it in the sim, there's no messing around, and I think it looks absolutely amazing. I mean, look at that. I mean, if we a little bit darker, maybe a bit lighter, maybe something like that. If I'm not happy with it, the same with every option here, it's got a reset button, so if I click on reset, it just goes back to complete normal, the way that it was before. Now, environment shading, again, I'm going to put it onto the second screen because I'm not sure how to make this window smaller, but I'm going to mess around from left to right with the environment shading now. And as you can see, this doesn't seem as though it makes much of a difference, but if we get a different view, maybe a top-down view, here we go, zoom out a little bit. So environment shading, you can see it doesn't affect everything. It just affects maybe the runways, maybe a little bit of the terrain. Maybe, I don't know whether it really affects the water that much, to be honest. We'll have a look at water in a minute. But you can see that it really does make things very dynamic, to the point where you can adjust things as much as you like, very customizable, and again, reset it and it goes straight back to normal, so you don't have to worry about messing things up. Now, global visibility, this is one thing I wanted to check out as well. Let me just go to an external view. So we're on the runway, you can see all the way down the runway, whereas if I reduce this global visibility, we start to see a huge amount of fog. And obviously that would be perfect if you're really in like maybe a blizzard condition, and what Active Sky is doing for you doesn't quite work. You can make it work. You can sort of change things to your personal preference. Again, maybe I want a little bit more visibility. Maybe I want a little bit less. Change it on the slider. And I dare say once we're in the air, we'll have a look at these settings again, but you get the point. So this is probably better. You can see a lot more detail about the surrounding areas. So let's try this again. So if we go back into the interface, again, everything is being, I've reset everything back to what it is in default. If we mess about with that visibility slider again, it does take a few seconds to actually start working. But look at that. Look how effective that actually is. And if we look through sort of like a wing view, that's even better. Really does bring some realistic fog into the situation and makes things look a hell of a lot better. Especially if you're wanting sort of an Arctic feel to things and you've got some snow going on and stuff like that. So let's just reset the visibility back, because one thing that I did want to check out was how the water looks. So let's get to this particular view here, maybe include a little bit of the aircraft just for the effect. So what we do is we'll go down to water. Not sure what's just happened there, but we global reset it. Now the saturation, again, we've got all these sliders and each one of them's got a reset button, so you can reset it if you're not happy. So water saturation speaks for itself. You can increase it all the way to an unrealistic blue, or release it all the way back to sort of an unrealistic grey. It won't affect all areas. It looks like these particular areas are maybe a different file or different texture, so it's not affecting those at the same time as affecting the others, but it doesn't really matter. You can still sort of make them blend in if you really wanted to. And again, global reset, that's in case you don't want to go and reset everything individually. Now, water specular blend, I'm not sure what that means, but I'm going to increase it to the maximum. Maybe it'll blend things in like we wanted to, or maybe not. Not entirely sure what that does, but again, those of you out there who are into advanced tweaking and stuff like that, you'll probably know what it is. I'm going to switch it over to the second monitor here, but what I'm going to be messing about with is the vertical modifier. So the vertical modifier, again, not really seeing much of a difference. I'm not sure what it does. Oh, there we go. So this might be sort of, I'm not sure really. Is it the wave size or anything like that? It seems to be affecting this area over here again. Let's just get a bit higher up. So the vertical modifier does do something, but it's all about, I mean, even the reflection. Changing the reflection. to something that's a little bit more realistic for you. Water refraction. So that, you know, is obviously very, very, very unrealistic, but it would look nice if that's what you wanted, if that's what you're into. Global reset will go to water granularity. So that makes it look a little bit more grainy, I would assume. And of course, you can put less or more. It doesn't really matter. It's entirely up to you. It is set on 4.00 at the moment. So that is sort of the water. If we move on to water/terrain colouring, this is where it gets a bit more fun. So again, you can change red, green, and blue values. They're all set at 45 on 0.45 on default. But these affect everything, even the aircraft. So let me just get that back up on the second screen. I'm going to mess around with red, green, and blue on the second screen. So red, maybe a bit more red. It affects the aircraft. It affects the buildings. Reset that back to normal. We can do the green. So less green or more green. Again, this is for the environment colouring, so it's everything, including the aircraft by the looks of it as well. And obviously we've got blue there as well, so more blue, less blue, you get the idea. So we'll global reset, and we've got 3 more options here, which are the water and terrain colouring options for red, green and blue. You can input manual values, but you can also use these sliders. So we'll do red at the moment, reducing it all the way back down to basically nothing. And you can sort of adjust the shades and make them look, you know, to your preference, really. I mean, there's some of these presets that are quite good. I might try one of those in a second, actually. Let's global reset everything back to normal, and then we're going to try and load the Scott 5, which is a 5-star voted by 12 votes, according to that. Inject. And I'm not going to save it, but that's it, basically. That's what this preset does. It looks nice, not perfect, but it looks okay. Maybe if we try Sparky's Cloud, inject. Again, a little bit different. Not perfect, but it just changes everything and makes it look very, very dynamic. Now again, all of these can just be reset back to what it normally is. And you can recompile the P3D shaders. I'm not sure what that does. Okay, so there are several options that won't always affect the simulator, depending on what clouds you've got going on. So, for example, 3D cloud morphing, it doesn't actually work on this particular circumstance, maybe because the clouds aren't the ones that I'm using, or the different sort of clouds to 3D clouds. But nevertheless, there's also these colorings, so you can change. I mean, look at that. That just looks very unrealistic. But we're going to go red, green, and blue just on these sliders here. So less red, more red, and back to normal. Less green. Look at that. That is just unbelievable. Less green. Full green and sort of in between. And again, we can reduce the blue as well, so we can make them look like a yellowy sort of colour. And another cool thing that I like is the 3D cloud formation / dissipation, if I can even speak. So dissipation and formation. So if we adjust that, so we go to dissipate. So that makes the clouds sort of more transparent, if you will. And this one, if we go to formation, on the right-hand side, makes them look more formed, if you will. So that's pretty awesome. Again, reset. We can reset all of these back to what they normally are, and it'll go back to the sim default or whatever default you've got. So the next option is a Cirrus cloud control, which basically does the same thing as the other cloud control, apart from the fact that there's less options. So Cirrus, we can reduce it and shrink it, or we can grow it. But again, I don't think we've got any Cirrus clouds to actually do that with, so that's not really going to make much of a difference. So we've been to 3D cloud control, we've been to Cirrus cloud control, lighting / visibility, water controller, we've done that. So texture synchronization again, cloud textures and sky textures. So we'll try sky textures, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select maybe Las Vegas. For dawn, the day textures will go to maybe Colombia, and dusk will go to maybe, I don't know, La Palma. So we build now, and then I'm going to click sync set in just a second, and it changes everything. So you can actively be changing everything about the way your sim looks. You can also save these as presets. So as in addition to having tomato shade or PTA or anything like that, you've also got the option of fine tweaking things now in the simulator without needing to restart and sort of reinstall things and do it on that basis. Let's just take another look at maybe some water and terrain colouring here. So I'm going to sort of mess around with the sliders. And this is sort of the terrain or environment, so I'm not going to change that actually. Water and terrain. So the terrain, I want it to be a little bit, maybe more green. Maybe I wanted to add a little bit of a purplish tinge in there. Maybe I want it to be sort of with less blue, so it's sort of a deeper green. It doesn't always look realistic, but it definitely adds another level of customization to everything. Now, this interface will seem very, very familiar to those of you who have got other Rex products, such as Skyforce, because it's the same window, basically, but obviously with different options. So this is the first screen that you'll see, probably, is the dashboard. It's very, very nicely laid out. I can't really say much about it because there's no virtual difference between this and other Rex products that I've used, and I'm pretty sure people will think the same way. You've got preset themes, so these are either your presets or the community presets, which are down here that you can choose and inject whenever you wish to do so. You don't have to exit the simulator again. You can just literally make this your own. Every single time you jump into the sim, you can customize it to the way that you want it to be. And I think it is an absolutely fantastic piece of software. And for $32, I think it is, again, FlightSim.com were very, very kind to give this to me to review, and obviously I am very grateful for that. But $32 is not actually that bad. It's quite a good price for software such as this that allows such a large degree of customization. So, without further ado, that is my overview and demonstration of Rex Environment Force. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I would highly recommend picking it up. If you are going to pick it up, you can head over to flightsim.com and pick it up there, or there are other add-on websites that you can go to as well and pick it up there. But I would definitely recommend it. Out of 10, I would probably give it maybe an 8 out of 10. And the reason I'm giving it an 8 and not a 10 is because I'm very critical, and because I believe maybe the interface should have been improved a little bit. They could have made it a little bit different. What I don't like in the sim is this down at the bottom left-hand side. You've always got this little Rex button here, which allows you to actually customize things even better. You can sort of fine tweak things. So instead of just using the sliders that are already in here, you can also tune things even finer using this little button here. But unfortunately, from what I've learned, it doesn't appear to be possible for this to be removed. You can't get rid of this. It's always in the bottom left-hand side, so that could be adjusted. Maybe add that into the settings somewhere to not show that, like the global settings. Maybe it could be somewhere in here, which would allow you to just get rid of that little button in case you just want to use this version. It's actually in the Environment Force window. For me, I'm quite lucky. I've got 2 screens, so I can literally just pass it over to the other screen, and I can still make adjustments. But it would be nice. Maybe to be able to get rid of this, or maybe set it up on a hotkey so that you can press a particular hotkey to bring it up and to hide it. Maybe even include it in the add-ons section here. There's so many different options. So again, without further ado, hope you enjoyed my very quick review. It's actually a lot quicker than what I would like to have reviewed something. I will also be writing a written review over at flightsim.com, and I will post a link to that. Where you can read all of the information about it and what I think about it in more detail. But until then, thank you very much for watching, guys. definitely would recommend it. Go and get yourself some Rex Environment Force, definitely. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.